this is a channel about a millennial who is a noob to Final Fantasy. I have recently cleared the Final Fantasy 14 MSQ, so what I am playing with in my head for a while now is that I want to delve into the rest of the series. I haven't played any of these games before. I want to make a good start. Now, I've been binging videos on which game to start with. I want to sort of take you guys through my thought process at this point, and if you guys have any like pointers or things I'm wrong in my head, then let me know. So again, I want you to know my goal is twofold, right? One, I want to complete the entire main series, probably including the follow-up games, but I'm not completely sure on that second point yet. And I don't want to burn out. Those are sort of the two premises you have to keep in your mind, all right? So here I have the tier maker, and these are all the games from 1 to 15. I think 5 tiers is enough. So this is not a tier list in terms of how good these games are, but I think it's a tier list in terms of how they rank in my I want to play this one first. Does that make sense? Good. Let's get started. So let's get the easy ones out of the way, and that is 2. If I've noticed one thing during my research here is that 2, you go into D. There you go. If I'm gonna play 2, which I probably will eventually, but if I'm gonna play it, I will probably play it last. Let's go to 1, and I think 1 is sort of is better than 2, which is the general consensus. I don't want to start with it because I think it'll sort of burn my mind, if that makes sense. So 2 is on a D, 1 is on a C. All right. Let's go on with a more interesting one, which I am contemplating starting as. And that one is 4, Final Fantasy 4. Let's put you on A for now. I can still switch you around, right? Yeah, I can still switch you around. So let's put 4 on A for now, because 4 is one that I am very interested in starting with. And with 4, because then we'll just do the first 4. Where's number 3? Here's number 3. I'll put 3 up here as well, because someone had a theory that really resonated with me, and that theory was that you should start chronologically, and you should just go from there, right? But you should start at a point that will not make you burn out. So I think Final Fantasy 3 or Final Fantasy 4 is that starting point for me, where I can just play the rest from that point on and not get burned out. I'm not going to say I'm going to do that, but it has this little logical point in my mind. So let's put 3 and 4 over there for now. It might be that for me personally at this point, 4 is at an S, because it seems a lot better than 3. But yeah, it seems like a really good starting point, but I'll put it in front of the 3 for now. So let's just make this order in the tiers as well, right? So then we have 5. I do want to play 5, but it's less of a priority for me, so I think 5 should go on the B tier. Let's go to 6. Now 6, any list of Final Fantasy games that puts anything at the top will probably put 6 at the top or 7. So let's put 6 in the S tier for now. But as I said, in terms of what I want to start with, I think 4 might be more interesting. But we'll leave it here for now, and then we'll go back once we have, the entire picture over here. So 6 is definitely I'm sort of considering starting with. You know what? Let's put 4 over here now. Let's do it like this, because I'm really interested in 6. I'm really interested in 4. But I feel 4 might be the better starting point. But I do want to play both, like no questions asked, right? 7. The thing with 7 is I'm not sure, because of the remake, if I should wait for the remake release on PC, if I should buy a PlayStation 5 and play the remake right now, or if I should play the original game. And that confusion, even though I really want to play, I'm going to play 7. Don't worry about that. But I don't know when I want to play it because of that extra complication, if that makes sense. So what I will do is I'll put 7 on the A tier, because it is something I want to play quick. I'd rather play it at the beginning of my Final Fantasy journey rather than at the end, but I I don't see it happening in the first like 2 games or something, if that makes sense, because of that complication with the remake. Now, let's go to 8. And I know people think things about 8, but for me, like judging from someone who's new to the series, I'm gonna put it at 5 because I think 8 is a game that I do want to have play, but it's just at an awkward spot, and I don't really see myself playing 8 before I see myself playing these 4 games above here for now, if that makes sense. So we have 8. Now let's go to 9. And I think 9 for me, the reason why I don't want to play it first is because of I've heard that there are a lot of references in 9 because it's sort of like a celebratory game for all the games that came before it, with all these references and stuff like that, and I don't want to miss out on that. So that's why I think 9, it's either going to be here or it's going to be here. And I kind of want to play it more than I want to play 8. So let's put it here, but it might have references on 8 that I do want to not miss out on. So that's sort of the doubt here. And I kind of want to play 9 more than I want to play 5, but yeah, the same arguments are there, right? So next is 10. 10 is interesting because I've heard a lot of people tell me start with 10. I do want to start with 10, but I have the feeling that I will play this entire different chapter of the Final Fantasy universe, if that makes sense. We'll have a game at the end that sort of feels the same to me. So honestly, in my gut feeling is I want to play 10, but I kind of want to start with the 2D ones first. But I have the feeling that if I take the route of starting with 10, then my entire journey through Final Fantasy will be different. So for now, we'll put 10 over here, but maybe I'll come back to that in a bit. Now here's an easy one because this is probably the one game I feel least interested in playing, and that's 11. Now I've heard good stuff about 11's story and whatnot, and I will probably get to it eventually, but because of its awkward MMO state and because I'm so invested in 14, it's just, it's gonna be at the end. It's gonna be even beyond 2, because even though 11 is probably better than 2, just because of a time investment argument, it's gonna be weird. I'll save the sequels for the end because I think they're just gonna live after the games that they're a sequel to. Now 12 is probably one of the ones I'm most interested in, just because I've heard the Zodiac Age, the PC remake for that, is really good, and it has these MMO aspects that I'm fond of. But I don't really see myself playing it first. So where should 12 be? I think 12 will be like the post-10 game for me. I think that makes a lot of sense because I think 10 is like this good introduction into Final Fantasy after 9, and then 12 is sort of, in terms of how much I look forward to a game, 12 is probably S tier, but I think in what I currently think I will play first, 12 is probably an A tier. All right, so after that, like I said, we'll save the sequels for a bit later. We'll go on to 13. Now 13, I have the feeling with 13 that the general consensus is that it's bad, but you have a few people that thinks it's not that bad. My gut tells me that 13 should be about here. So it's not like Final Fantasy 2 and Final Fantasy 11 tier, and maybe it should even be before 1, or maybe it should even be here. But it's not something I really like. I'm really feeling anxious to play at this point, even though I must say I had a few days in my entire thought process, because I've been thinking about this for way too long, that I should play 13 like somewhere before 10 even. But now I've slept on it for a few nights, and I think 13 should live here, but I might be wrong. And I think if 10 is going to be really impressive for me, then 13 might slip through here. Maybe. But maybe. Let me know what you guys think about that. Now, obviously we have 14, and there's only one place we can put 14, because that's probably the one Final Fantasy game I'm invested in completely. So, yeah, that's not really a question. Obviously, if Final Fantasy 14 releases something new, that will be the first thing I play. This is a primarily Final Fantasy 14 channel. It is my alma mater, my link between my MMO history and Final Fantasy, so it will always be numero uno. But in terms of, how I'm gonna go for the rest of the series, we might as well leave it here in that case. But just so you guys know, this is the main priority, but it's not that because of I'm looking for a second game to play on the side, if that makes sense. So let's put it over here, but it doesn't really mean anything. Now, 15. Oh my goodness. This is... I'm going to compare 15 to 13. It sort of struck the same chord with me in terms of how I feel about it when I want to play it. But the thing with 15 is that I want to play it more than I want to play 13. Because the feeling I've received from reviews and whatnot about 15 has the same, ambiguity than 13 has, but it's stronger towards the positive side, if that makes sense. So I want to play 15 more than I want to play 13, even though I know it has like this mixed feelings, but I have the feeling those mixed feelings are more tuned towards the positive side. So 15 for me lives maybe behind 12. Maybe that's a good place to start. Maybe 15 should even live in front of 10. That's a big statement from my side, but that's a big point for me. Like, if I'm gonna start this on the 2D side of things with 4 and maybe 6, or maybe 4, 5, 6, and then 10, and then 12, and then 15, and then 3, and then 7. I mean, 7 feels really late at this point, because I really want to play 7. I think the thing with 7 at this point is that I don't know when the PC remake is gonna release, and if I will have bought a piece of PlayStation 5 before that, when it releases, and I can play Final Fantasy 7 on it. If time is the issue, maybe this will be the case. So it'll be 4, 6, 7, 10, 12, 15, 3. So we have this little flashback to 2D Final Fantasy. 8, 9, 13, 1, 2, 11. That feels alright. Now let's put these sequels in there, because I think playing 10-2 behind 10 makes sense, because it's a decent sequel, I feel. And I have the feeling that playing the entire trilogy of 13 behind 13 makes sense as well, because I have the feeling that 13-2 in some people's eyes is better than 13. Lightning Returns, I've heard some mixed feelings about that, but I have the feeling that this one is probably the best. So you're probably playing this one to play this one, and then you might as well play that one, right? You might as well play Lightning Returns. Now, as you can see, we have 2 games left, and after we put those in, we'll go through the entire order, and then we'll sort of feel if that's the right way to go. So we have 4 sequel. I don't remember what the numbers are for. And then we have 12 sequel. And the thing with 12 sequel is that this very moment is the first time I've actually heard about this game. I think it's something with wings. So I have no clue if this is actually good, or if I should play it at all. Should it go here? Should it go there? I don't know. Maybe I should play the sequel to 4 after 4. Or maybe I should play the sequel to 4 somewhere after my second 2D streak through Final Fantasy. So maybe the sequel to 4 is best set here. And then this one, yeah. Maybe I should play this behind my sort of 3D streak over here before I go into the depths of Final Fantasy 1, 2, and 11. So let's just go through this order and see if it makes sense, right? So obviously 14, as I said, we might as well put it over down here. We can actually put it down here anymore, but yeah. How does this work? Apparently it doesn't work. There we go. So 14 has like a special place, obviously, on this channel, so let's forget about that. So the order would be 4, Final Fantasy 4, Final Fantasy 6, Final Fantasy 7, depending on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 in my possession, or it being released on PC. 10, 10-2, 12, 15, 3. This is a big jump. This is going to be a big jump. 5, 4, the sequel. 8, 9, 13, 13-2, 13-3, I guess. 12-2, 1-11. All right, so this is... it doesn't... it feels all right. I think the main change that will probably depend on 7 is that, well, 7 might be put down over here. I think putting 7 here makes the transition from 15, especially if we play the remake, from 15 to 3 a bit more smooth. Well, it's probably not going to be smooth. If we play the PlayStation 1 version, it might be a lot smoother. So I think that's the main question. The rest of it, yeah. I think this is what's in my head at this point. Maybe 15 should be in front of 10 after all. And we should play 15 first, then 10, then 10-2. Because I've heard really good stories about it. I've also heard kind of meh stories about it. But yeah, let me after this huge rant, let me know what you guys think about this order. So the order we have right now is 4, 6, 7, 10, 10-2, 15, 12, 3, 5, 4, 2, 8, 9, 13, 13-2, 13-3, 12-2, 1, 2, and 11. It feels alright, but is it good enough? Is it good enough? I don't know. All right, so let's keep it at that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. This is probably what I'm thinking of right now. Yeah. Well, maybe we'll do an update video once we have some of your feedback in there, and let me know what you think. I really need your feedback on this because this has been living in my mind for such a long time. Oh my goodness.